This week I am super gassed. It's Star Wars week. And by Star Wars week, I mean The Mandalorian is coming out within the next few hours. So you know what? It only made sense that I had to draw a Mandalorian today using shapes only. Let's go. So in case you're wondering what's a Mandalorian, Mandalorians are from the planet Mandalore. It's a planet in the Star Wars universe, and the Mandalorians are legendary warriors known for fighting the Jedi. That's right, we only deal in absolutes over here. This is a Jedi-free zone. And if it's your first time here, welcome. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment on the section below. And if you have subscribed, make sure you smash the notification button so you get a notification every single time a video is uploaded. Now, without further ado, let's get down to burn the pencil. Alright fam, so as usual, we're going to start with a circle for the head. The head always tells me how big the body is going to be, unless I'm really exaggerating. Next, we're going to work on the body, and the body is going to be, as you can see, like I've kind of like measured up the end, the two ends where it's going to be, because it's very important to get this right, because this is the upper body, and I'm kind of creating like a trapezium shape, which is going to fit into the Mandalorian's armor. Now, if you're not familiar with the Mandalorians, they're always in some sort of armor, right? So from there, we're going to move on to the rectangle right below it, and this later on you will see why we're drawing a rectangle. Usually I don't really do it this way, but for the purpose of the Mandalorian and for the reference of using the shapes, it's going to help you in the long run. Onto the legs, pretty straightforward. You just need two lines. Notice how I pin. I kind of like, again, measured both sides because we kind of want to get this right. Again, we're just going to create some sort of rectangle within the trapezium, and this is, and the reason for this is it's going to help you pinpoint where your arm starts. There you go. Again, I'm always comparing. Here's the thing with shapes, it's almost like a calculator. It helps you pinpoint where to start, stop, middle, end, so to speak. Okay, so you can always use your shapes, the corners of your shapes, to help you distinguish where you want something to start, stop. So now with the hands, this is a very different one again. This is a different approach today, simply because the Mandalorians are quite different, so I'm trying something different out here. The Mandalorians are always in helmet, right? It is very rare for you to see a Mandalorian without a helmet. And I guess you can blame, is it Boba Fett? Jango Fett? Who came first? I can't remember who came first on episode 4. Guys, jump in the comment section below and let me know. I'm not big fan when it comes to episode 4, so to speak. So as you can see, I've used a circle to draw the shape of the helmet inside it. It's gonna now drawing right in the middle. Again, we always do this to pin, to cross point between the eyes. But in this instance, there is no eyes because the helmet, but it almost sort of works. Okay, so now just highlighting so you can kind of see the shapes a little bit better of how the body is going to be. Don't worry about, if your lines are not really straight. Remember, this is only for your reference. Voila. Now that we've pretty much got our shapes out of the way, it's time to get crack on with some of the details. But before that, as usual, as always, I always tend to forget something. Let's just, draw a little shape for the feet. Again, take your time. Don't worry too much about getting it right. Remember, we're using the pencil for a reason. We're going to erase this. We're going to erase all of this later on, so don't worry about it. My feet and hands are always wonky until I come down with the marker and I actually draw. So feel free to just, sketch it, make as many lines as you want. Doesn't matter, it's all going to be erased. By the way, if you're a Star Wars fan, jump in the comment section below and let me know who's your favorite character, who's your favorite Mandalorian, and are you going to watch The Mandalorian? Okay, so now starting with the visors for the eye section. So what we do is the line that we've created before is going to be right in the middle. So we're going to start off with the top, coming down, and then you finish right in the middle. Again, don't worry if it's not accurate. As you can see, I am making mistakes after mistakes. It doesn't matter. I always use, even if I get it wrong, it doesn't matter because I can always go back and see where I've gone wrong and make the changes. So this is not the final draft. Don't put yourself under pressure whatsoever. Again, it doesn't really matter. We're only using the pencil to draw out the lines. So now that everything's pretty much done, we're going to start off, filling in the spaces. We're starting off with the shoulders. I always use lines. It helps me out so much where to figure out where I'm going to put what. So just working on the shoulders right now. And although it does look silly, once you start putting them together, you'll start to see the picture a lot clearer. And if you need to make any changes, if you're happy with something, if you're not happy with something, you can always, make the changes right there and then. Just going over this a little bit. It's looking good. Kind of happy with that. Also, feel free to use references. I do it all the time. There's tons of Mandalorians out there with different armors. So pick your one. If you're drawing your Mandalorian, pick your Mandalorian. Pick the style of the Mandalorian you want. Pick the house, the Mandalorian house that you want, and just run with it. So going for the arms right now, we always put like an oblong shape around the elbows and knees, just so we can tell, okay, this area is the area that bends. So we kind of do that all the time. It just helps, to differentiate between your forearm and your upper arm. Differentiate between your bicep area and your forearms. We can start, now that we have the arms, we can start working on the shoulder area. Now, one thing with the Mandalorians and what they wear is that it's never really the same. So the good thing about that is that if you're drawing a Mandalorian, you don't have to have two sides equal because they never wear the same thing. So for example, on this shoulder right here, one of the pads covers the whole shoulder, the other side only covers half of the shoulder. Feel free to make up your own type of armor, you know. You can see once you get that, so working on that middle area. Again, I always find it easier just to draw lines, you know, in the middle, beginning or end, because it kind of like, you know, it just tells me where I should start, you know. On that chest area. Sometimes I get caught up in, you know, trying to get bits perfect, like it's finished. I always, like, it's almost like I forget that, you know, I'm in the beginning phase, so I shouldn't be worried. And you know, I guess that comes down with the whole thing of drawing. You'll be all right. I am actually a big fan of the Mandalorians, and I'm so happy that we're getting a show so focused on these warriors, because they're pretty epic soldiers, and all warriors should have them. And one of my favorite ones was from the Star Wars Clone Wars. Not the Clone Wars, I mean the Rebels, where we had Sabine Wren from the House of Wren. Is it House? Clan of Wren, I think they call themselves. So lots of paddings for the Mandalorians. They're always fighting, they're always in wars or doing bounty hunters, so they need a good gear that, you know, protects them from injury. And now we can start, you know, filling up our arms. Again, this is not the final, so don't worry too much about it. mistake, you can always go back. I make mistakes all the time. So now we're getting to the bit where we're going to find out why we need the rectangle there. This area is the area that I call the gizmo area, and you will see in a minute why it's called the gizmo area. It's almost like the Batman belt. They have these belts around where they have a bunch of weapons and items they can use when engaged in a mission or at war or a fight, depending on what they're doing. Mandalorians, they're not known for, peace. They just love a good fight. And later on we'll be filling that belt with a couple of items. So now we'll be on the legs, filling them up. As usual, it wouldn't be Star Wars if the Force wouldn't have interfered. Unfortunately, my camera hit the limit and I didn't realize, and I was still drawing. But nevertheless, feel free to pause the video, go through the bits that I filled up. Again, I'm still filling in the shell of the character, adding some details. As you can see, I've added a strap in the middle, I filled in the arms, paddings around the legs, and I've also added a cape, which is not something common that I've seen too much with the Mandalorians. So feel free to just pause the video and check what I have done, and then you can carry on. Hands and fingers is something I think I got since last time. I think it's I've gone pretty decent. I'm starting to get the hang of it again. Sweet. Nah, not bad. If you're like me, who's kind of lost touch with drawing hands and fingers, feel free to draw your own hand. That's how I learned how to draw my hands. The more you draw, the more you get the hang of it. As you can see, I keep making changes. If I see I'm not happy with something, I'll just go over it. Doesn't matter, because it's all going to be erased. Our legendary warrior is starting to come into place. Adding some more details onto the belt now. Again, feel free to add whatever items you want. I'm keeping this pretty basic because it's already taken quite a bit of my time. I usually like to draw pretty fast, and obviously don't want to keep you guys here forever. A couple of items that's gonna help this guy out. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, I would have watched the first episode of The Mandalorian. Obviously being over here in the UK is not always as easy to get hold of brand new programs. Voila! Now on to the good stuff. Let's go. And we're gonna hit the light speed. And I find this so much fun because once you put, like, you know, this is the fun part. I love going over with the marker because it just brings things more into life. Yeah. Gotta love it, man. Like, how can you not like to draw? Like, you know, it's so much fun and relaxing. Like, everybody should like draw. Like, it should be a thing to just draw, and not draw to be like, you know, like professional, just to draw just for the, you know, the kicks of it, you know. It's so nice and relaxing. Look at those hands coming up nicely. I'm actually pretty happy with those hands. Onto the cape. Voila! Now we get to rub it all off. Now that I've picked my colors, we can now go on to painting our warrior. Now, feel free to pick the colors that you want. I've kind of tried to go with the colors from the original The Mandalorian series. Lots of browns, different shades of browns, okay? So feel free to add some shades, use different type of colors. Now, after adding all these colors, I thought, you know what? Let me pay homage to the one and only Sabine Wren. I really like Sabine, and she uses a lot of bright colors, and she really likes the purple. I like purple, so you know what? Let's add some purple to this warrior, because why not? Here is your Mandalorian. Alright guys, that was it. It was a challenge, but we finally got down to it. I'm actually very happy with the outcome. Now, a couple of things before I shut down. Drop in the comment section below what I should be drawing next, whether it's a mashup or whether it's a normal character or a celebrity. If you want to get more involved with what I'm doing, you can now join the GS Patreon, www.patreon.com/Geek Sensei, to get involved in everything to do with drawing with shapes. See you guys next week. Peace.